Hello and welcome to another episode of the SMEFocus show brought to you by FactoryNOW TV. I'm your host, Chris Greenough, and in this series we will focus on SMEs within the British manufacturing sector. Every week we will discuss and analyse the opportunities and challenges for industry in these unprecedented times. I have worked in the sector for over 26 years and I'm CCO at SDE Technology, one of the leading manufacturers of pressings and assemblies in the UK. As you can hopefully appreciate, this show is very much for manufacturers by manufacturers. My guest today, I'm pleased to welcome Susan Marlow, Managing Director at Minster Computers.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Susan. Good to see you. It's a long time since we've met in person, and now we're doing lots more of these virtual meetings.
Indeed, it's the new normal, isn't it?
It seems to be. So tell me about Minster Micro and what is it you do?
Okay, so we're an IT company and we look after a number of manufacturers. About 50% of our client base are manufacturers of one type or another, from light engineering through to heavy plants, and across quite a wide range of manufacturers. So, typical metal bashing, one could call it, through to furniture manufacturing and so on. So, we've got a real interest in what the manufacturing industry is up to, particularly in the Midlands area. So primarily it's SME market. So it's all very much really trying to understand what SMEs need from us from an IT point of view. We are what we would call an MSP and ERP specialist company, a total solution. So the MSP, or managed service provision, is really about preventative, proactive support and maintenance. So we're doing things like remote monitoring of your systems so that we can catch problems before they actually happen, because we recognise uptime is such a serious issue for businesses. We look at helping them to develop their IT strategy to include disaster recovery, business continuity, and so forth. So we're a really essential part. We like to think of ourselves as you can get on with making your business bigger and better because your IT just works. So if we're doing that right, then that's exactly what we're here to do. The ERP bit that I mentioned is about the solutions around your applications, the business software that you enter your data into. And what we're actually finding is in these very difficult times that people are starting to see what worked well and what didn't work so well. So I would say COVID has catapulted business forward by 5 or 10 years because home working and the remote model was very much you either were in it anyway, but the sort of businesses we're looking at, again, traditional manufacturing businesses, it was reserved more for management to work in that way. And all of a sudden, your whole sort of admin team, sales team and so forth have been deployed into a model that's been quite hard for them to necessarily engage in. And so that's been quite a challenge for us to support because people have been used to IT being sort of there, but also not necessarily as what can I say, as good as it should be. So therefore, when you have a problem and you're at home, all of a sudden you just physically cannot work. And so the cost to a business is actually higher than an office-based person, because you can always go and do something maybe sort of physically productive. And so therefore that has been a big challenge for businesses and individuals of how do you get your productivity higher and also remain effective and efficient. So
has your business actually even though you sort of talked about disaster recovery, and COVID has been a complete disaster for many this year, 2020 has been written off for many manufacturers, but your business now, you're seeing more work with SMEs to create the systems to enable more home working.
Yes, definitely. So we've been, we've been talking anyway through quite a long time now about cloud-based hosted systems and so forth. And there really has been a resistance, not just because infrastructure hasn't really caught it up. There are typically, particularly in sort of the Wolverhampton area in the middle of Birmingham, the restrictions on sort of broadband, they've really been a problem for people to even consider. So infrastructure has telecommunications infrastructure has been a real battle, and it continues to be. You know, you've got to think outside the box with how to deal with these problems. But there has been a general acceptance by SMEs that they've got to actually accept home working and remote working, certainly for some parts of their business is essential. And so, yeah, we've been doing a lot of work with them to deal with those challenges.
And over since sort of March and the impact of COVID really started hitting home, how has Minster fared as a company? So did you have to make redundancies? Have you furloughed staff? Where are you now?
Okay, so beginning of March, I think that it felt like we'd opened a furnace door. The amount of work that came through in March and April particularly, it was quite hard to catch up, but we had probably some of our best testimonials we've ever had of thank yous and so forth. So it was really uplifting for staff, and I think it helped them carry on. What I would say though is we're a business of two halves. So we support people, obviously that is where we need to make sure we look after people, but then we also are very instrumental in their IT strategy and in putting in new systems and all the project work, and that literally fell off a cliff. So sort of May, June, July, and possibly a little bit into August, project work had either been pushed back or cancelled. And it was a really tough time, but we did furlough, and we did it in a very fair way, we hope. Everybody was quite supportive, in fairness, in the business. So we furloughed people through that time in like the 3-week stints, and so everybody shared that experience really, to make sure that, you know, we tried to keep the business really sort of still solid in the support areas, but the project and sales and marketing staff really, you know, sort of really helped an awful lot. As confidence rebuilt, we were able to bring everybody back, and that's through August, was, you know, really started to, the confidence in the SME market had picked up, and people we'd been talking to at the beginning of lockdown, particularly in the manufacturing sector, who were really struggling with their cash flow. We really tried to support them by trying to change their service agreements and scale them up and down accordingly. And I think that was really appreciated with the loyalty that we've had from people. And it's really great to see those green shoots now that the manufacturing companies we work with, they're innovators. You know, we're engineers ultimately. I'm an engineer. She says a software engineer. Whether that counts, I don't know.
I think it does.
But you know, but we as engineers, that's what we're all about. And I think, you know, we're very lucky in this region. We've got some really innovative brains, and people have looked at their business and they've looked at what they can do, and they've found gaps in the market, or they've exploited opportunities. And it's fantastic having those conversations now with those same companies where they're doing better than ever. And I think it's great that we've been able to support them, and we're now talking with them about what went well, even better if, you know, what can we do to get you to the next level? And it's really good because they've been able to look analytically back and say, well, that wasn't a good bit of IT. We need to change that. What can we do, Minster? And of course, we're able to advise. And cyber is an enormous area. Cyber security is, I think, that one of the biggest areas that we're helping people with. And I think everyone needs to take a really good look at their security right now, because, you know, it is it's the area of exposure that we all need to, you know, put a little bit of time and effort into as the next stage.
Yeah, and the more and more people are working from home, the more those security issues are highlighted. But it's great to hear that you now see with manufacturers you're working with, and I see it within the region, there are green shoots. And in fact, you're now looking at expanding and taking on apprenticeships again.
We are indeed. So we've always been, I mean, it was something really close to my heart. And I started our original apprenticeship programme a number of years ago, and it's been a really instrumental part of where we're heading. I really do believe in investing in young people, and actually, you know, finding that talent and developing it. And we've still got apprentices from our original cohort with us, so that's fantastic news. But yeah, we weren't able to do anything this year because of the restrictions. You know, I was very much a case of we couldn't bring people in that we couldn't educate and develop. It would be an awful wrong start for them. So we are heavily looking now into restarting that in January. I know there's a lot of incentives out there for employers to do that. There's a lot of grant funding out there to help you make those decisions. So if you haven't already done so, you should. There's a lot of, you know, and there's so much benefit, whatever industry you're in. You know, if you get a good apprenticeship scheme, you know, you've got all the support to help you as an employer, and of course as an employer you've got so much to add to the mix. So I'm absolute advocate of it, and delighted we're going to be able to carry on.
Well, it's great. I mean, that's how we've sort of first made contact, and the apprenticeships that you've taken on is absolutely fantastic. So obviously we've had COVID this year, we've got lovely Brexit to look forward to. What do you see for 2021, and what do you see for yourself and Minster? What's the future hold?
Okay, so I mean, we've touched on the apprenticeships. We also work quite closely with a number of schools. We sell products. I'm actually on the governing body of a local school, which is really quite interesting. I've been in that role for quite a number of years now, and I'm currently chair for my sins, so that's interesting. But for me, it's as I say, education is a really important part of what I'm about and what Minster's about. And we're just about we're in the middle of putting together a project with one of the local Birmingham-based universities, BCU, and we're actually looking with them to do some quite innovative stuff within what we're already doing. And you know, if I start talking about things like IoT, so Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all the good stuff, and the integration with manufacturing equipment. One of the big issues that we know our clients face, and I think I'll probably be saying the same, you know, everyone will probably agree who's listening, is there's a great investment in your legacy systems and your legacy equipment. And, you know, it's a real concern. How do we move forward with our technology when we can't afford to bin it? You know, we can't afford to put these old machines. They're doing a good job. They're just not internet enabled. We need to talk to them. So we're doing a lot of work towards that innovation, towards helping people to get that integration and to get that communication into the system, because ultimately we've been doing a lot of market sort of research about where we need to go, and data is the massive thing. Data intelligence, what you are doing as a business, you need to be able to understand. You think you do, but there's some really interesting things that can come out of your data if you slice it and dice it in a different way. And that is, I say, really, I think what's driving people forward is understanding more and more about the key presses that your people are putting in, what that actually translates to in business terms. So it's really exciting, innovative stuff that we're working towards. That's absolutely fantastic. And certainly the internet, big data, whatever it is, technology, we need to be working with SMEs, which I know you do, to actually take that data, do something with it, improve the business. And investment in data is an investment in the business. And it's great to hear the work you're doing. I know the university quite well. Fantastic. And great to speak to you, Susan. Thank you for your time today, and look forward to hearing what Minster do next year. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. You're welcome. That brings us to the end of another show. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to meeting more of our brilliant SME manufacturers next week. If you would like to get in touch with the show with a comment, a suggestion, or
or even to appear on a future episode, please email us tv@mtd.media. So from me, Chris G @SDE, goodbye. Thank you for watching.